Well, hello, my links participants in my class. It's been a really long day in terms of all of the mid-cycle reviews, but I promised I would get back to you with the current standings as it relates to our various industries. So let's start right off in terms of talking about Industry 1. In Industry 1, we have Firm 4 who is leading. So I want to do a shout out to Michael, Tim, Lauren, Wesley, and Gardner to say good work in terms of keeping that lead in this particular industry. But before you get too comfortable with saying that we've got this in the bag, you are statistically tied in terms of performance through month 6 with Firm 2. So Clark, Coleman, Eric, Carmen, and David, you know, I think it's going to come down to, as I said before, almost the photo finish. Now, that's not to say that Firm 1 and 3 aren't in the running, because I think that it's going to be a tight race. And when we're this close in terms of the points that separate all 4 groups, it's really going to be, within that double round to determine who's going to take it all. So let me talk about Industry 2. So there we're finding that there's something lucky about these 2 firm numbers, 4 and 2. So in Industry 2, we have Firm 4 that is the leader currently as well. So Yesenia, William, Kyle, Brad, and Tanner, you're currently the leader in this particular industry across those metrics that we look at in terms of a cumulative score. Now, that's not to say that, once again, that Firm 2 in your industry is not also going to give you, I think, a real race to the finish. So Firm 2, Evelyn, Aaron, Holt, and Sydney, great job as well. And as I said about the first industry, I think it's going to be like a Kentucky Derby where we actually have to, that photo finish is going to be something that we're going to have to take a look at. Now, let me say this about Industry 2. Firm 3 recent performance suggests that they can still be a contender, and I have every hope and confidence that they are going to be as well. Firm 1 is showing promise of a turnaround, and so I think anything's possible as we go into these last 3 decisions. Let me make some overall comments about where I see people relative to decision making going into month 7 and then to the double round months 8 and 9. So I have 3 key points that I want to talk to you about briefly. First of all, I think you need to understand how to use those research reports so you're really making more informed decisions. I think that one of the things that we saw today throughout the mid-cycle reviews is that while many of you felt like you didn't know a lot about this industry in month 4 and month 5, you got to know it a little bit better. From this point onward, I think you know enough about how this industry and all the regions and where the products are operating. So I think we need to take advantage of those research reports to make sure that we're making the very best possible decisions. The second thing is this. We now have full functionality of the simulation, and you have 2 very powerful levers, some of you, your companies have used them, and I think wisely, and some, it's one of those things that will go under the column of lessons learned. Those 2 levers are price and promotion. So we have this ability through the generate demand to change the price, both to increase it as well as decrease it. And under the promotion, we can use marketing dollars. And I think that what some of you have already found is that when you use these in combination, they can be a very, very powerful tool in that combination itself. The third thing is that I think that we have to realize that we've got to prioritize how we use our resources. And that's everything from how we procure, which suppliers we use, the transportation that we choose to use in the carriers there, all of those kinds of things, how we might choose to produce as well. Not every region is the same, which would say that we're looking for some segmentation. And what we're kind of seeing is that there's this lack of differentiation, whether it's across the service that we're assigning, how we look at pricing and promotion dollars. And so this lack of differentiation is not efficient, nor is it effective. And so I'm hoping in these last few rounds of the simulation that you we'll start to see the segmentation come into play. Let me close by talking a little bit about the double run on Monday, and I'll cover this again when I send out my next kind of news brief about what happens after the decision tonight. First of all, we don't have another decision on Friday. Our last decision will be on Monday. And in that decision, we refer to it as a double run. So you will be making inputs related to decisions for month 8. That will stand, so everything that you put in for month 8 will then be run again, and that will be our month 9. You will not, and I'll repeat this, you will not have the ability to go back in and make any changes to what we're going to call the decisions for month 9. So this is what I would say to you. When we do this double run, it effectively says to you, please don't stop ordering materials. Don't have a fire sale in terms of slashing your prices, because if you do that in month 8, what will happen in month 9 is that you'll find yourself in a very, very difficult position without product to sell if you did the fire sale in month 8. And you may also run out of materials, and you know there is a limit in terms of how much we're able to emergency procure, and it's very, very expensive. I've seen firms that don't understand how to plan for this, to do an automatic pilot, you know, a decision, and I have seen winners and losers emerge just in the double run. I'll speak a little bit more about that when I deliver the results, probably on Sunday, to each of you about what to look for in terms of Monday. It's been a really long day. After setting through 19 mid-cycle reviews, I think I'm ready to go home and start this all over again tomorrow. I did want to remind you that Feroz, who is our graduate student and is very familiar with the link simulation, will be holding an office appointment time tomorrow in my office, 312 in Stokely Management Center. Feroz will be here from 10 to 11 a.m. If any of you have any questions about what's going to happen in that final decision round, and certainly I'll be in the office on Monday as well. I hope you have a good evening. I thought the mid-cycle reviews today, given everything else that we're going on in terms of other courses and things, went well. And as usual, we were running behind schedule the further we got into it, and so we'll learn from this as well. I'll see you on Monday.